a trivia question. Who was the quarterback when McNair got drafted? Chris Chandler.
Yeah, I don't know if Chris or McNair liked that whole operation. Just saying I was there. Well, here's what happens, though. Here, imagine this. Now, he signs with the team as the number one quarterback.
Right.
And he knows how this league works. Mm-hmm. Then all of a sudden you draft a guy, what was it, the third pick of the draft?
Yeah, I think so.
I thought I was the guy.
Yeah.
So if I have a bad game, they're going to be calling McNair. And so he was a little perturbed. So they gave him 2 years, and then they said, okay, McNair.
Just
that was not a good deal there, man. They might as well kept Warren Moon and help him get over all of that and make it through. I guess groom him to be the next quarterback. That was horrible. This all happened my rookie year. We had some crazy stuff to happen there with the Houston Oilers.
You've told this story before. I'm not telling anything out of school here. Didn't Bud come in your rookie year in the locker room and say, I'll spend all this money. If you guys don't win, it's over?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And dumb me was like a rookie. It was like, oh, he's talking about we're going to get cut? I didn't care anything about what he was like. We've been together. He said, if we don't go to the Super Bowl, we're going to dismantle this team is what he said. Exactly his words. And I was like, huh? I just got here. I'm going to get cut? Oh, my gosh. Man. I just started running around hitting everybody.
That was your answer.
Yeah, I just
started to hit everybody.
Everybody. Everything that moves, they get lit up. That's all I could do.
Was that 94?
No, that was 93. Going into the 93 season, my rookie year. Yeah, he
said
that to us in training camp in San Antonio at Trinity College. And I thought I was going to die. I mean, die like from the heat. The heat was like no other that I've ever been involved in ever.
You were relying on weigh-in sheets every day, right? Because you were losing so much weight.
Oh, yeah. Every single day. I was throwing up.
What'd you get down to?
Almost to my high school weight. Yeah, I was close. I was 175 when I graduated high school. I think I got down like the 182.
Hey, man.
I was like, what? I was like, oh, my God.
Hey, it's getting loose.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Word. I felt like I said, hey, man, I could do some bodybuilding now. I was ripped. I was ripped, man. If somebody came by and just barely touched me with a knife, I would have bled to death. Oh, my gosh. Man, couldn't hold any food down. I was like, oh, this is absolutely horrible. That happened for about a week, too, man.
That's when you turned to Whataburger to nourish you.
No, not at that time. No, that wasn't till when we got back to Houston and I was on the roster with no vehicle, so I was just walking to practice.
How you were saying this like it would be lunchtime and like guys would go get just bags of McDonald's and stuff.
Yeah.
And you know now they get
cater food,
right? And now they
did start catering, like halfway through the season.
Oh, they did.
Yeah,
so that was just early on. It was guys going and getting bags of McDonald's.
Because that's what they had been doing for years. I was like, what the heck is this? Really? So watch this. I start bringing bag lunch. Man.
You still have a bag of food every day.
I bag lunch, yeah, man. I didn't even know if I was going to stay on the team, man. Every week. And that mind frame really, kept me going, really, to believe that, hey, man, any day I could be cut. So I give it my best effort. So that's
what was your fuel? PB&J? They're talking about PB&J's on Sunday Night Football.
Oh, yeah, I had,
Oh, NBA teams.
I had peanut butter,
heck out of that.
jelly sandwiches or turkey sandwiches. That was like my go-to. Yeah. I really felt like I couldn't afford to get some McDonald's. Yeah, that's where I was at.
Where dudes looking at you like, hey, man, what are you doing?
I was like, hey, man, I don't know. I may not be around because they see me walking to practice. Hey, where you live? I said, I live right across the street. And meanwhile, I'm still freeloading off of Brad Hopkins, paying like $200, $300 for a room in his townhome. And I could have drove one of his cars, but I'd always wait till he wasn't there.
Right.
Yeah, because he wouldn't even be home until it's dark. After practice, he didn't even come home every single day. I was like, dude, hey, man, I'm tired of walking your dog, man. Hey, bro, you got to come get that thing. He's kind of mean. So, yeah, man. It kind of stuck with me throughout my career in my life. Yeah, pretty much.
Well,
stay conservative.
Well, it's not a bad thing, man.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing at all being conservative, for sure. Titans assistant coaches speaking today, the offensive guys, a couple things stood out. I wanted to write this down. Rob Moore says A.J. Brown was actually like waving him off some on Sunday, like, I'm fine, leave me out here. He thinks he'll play more snaps this week, so no setback. That's a good thing.
Oh, yeah.
And then Keith Carter got asked about
O-line coach.
Yes, everything comes back to Dylan Radins. This is so fascinating to me. They played like 9 or 10 other guys. He's a second-round draft pick, still not playing on offense. He did play on special teams.
So what'd they ask him?
Just about when might he –
I see people blaming him for everything that goes wrong with the offensive line. I'm like, wait, hold on.
Dylan Radins.
No, Keith Carter. I'm like, wait a minute. All of a sudden, he was a great coach last year. Now all of a sudden, he's horrible.
Remember, the year before, not good. Then last year, really good. And then this year, not good again.
Guys aren't playing up to the snuff, at least as far as pass protection.
He mentioned Lawan and said he is improving weekly. So he's coming off a catastrophic knee injury. For everybody, he's coming off a catastrophic knee injury.
I'm not going to give it catastrophic.
Well, I mean,
ACLs are like nothing these days.
Well, still, though.
I mean, they can't
for regular
them.
people. Right, for regular people. For NFL guys, it's like, hey, man, you got
Well, when will he get back up to stuff? And he's gradually, each and every game, gaining confidence and getting better. It was a tough injury. I feel like the Achilles injury is actually a tough one to come back from. I don't care what position you play. More so than ACLs because they've kind of perfected. Now, everybody's knee is different. I'm not going to act like it's not hard. It is hard. But the Achilles, boy, that one's a woo.
And what that looks like when it's over?
Oh, man, it does not look good. And I prayed of all the injuries that I would not get that one. I did. I promise you. I saw some guys get that, and they were never the same. I mean, never. They could not recover. They lost a half a beat, a step, or what. It just was like, it's not the same.
And it's like the back of your leg down to the bottom of your foot stapled together. Yeah, it's the most barbaric, horrific.
Yeah, it looks horrible. I mean, oh man. And I used to go in the training room when you guys have ACLs, and I wanted to know, and I see them in there crying, grown men crying.
Rehabbing?
Yes. Oh, let me see you get your ACL, and they start bending your knee, and they start forcing it. They have to take a whole bunch of deep breaths, and then you just see the water flowing. I mean, they are like, I'm like, oh my God, please don't let me get that toward Achilles or ACL.
They got to break.
I mean, to your point, it is a really tough injury, but I don't know, catastrophic is to me, it's like it's at the end.
Okay, I got it.
That's just me though. See what
fair enough. Keith Carter said, offensive line coach of Dylan Radins, he will, and I'm holding up quotes if you're in his own TV chat, get an opportunity here shortly.
How is that preconceived like he knows that? Huh?
Does he just mean
is somebody not dressing or not playing, or is Sappho injury going to get him some weeks of rest because it's his shoulder or neck or whatever he's got? It seems like that keeps bothering him, and so every game, I mean, you can't protect your shoulder. You're hitting somebody every play.
Yeah, not
at that position. You can do.
Right.
I mean, or whatever, it's his neck or shoulder. I don't know exactly what it is. So maybe they're putting him in there. I don't know. Oh, they put in, what did they put in, Levin?
Corey Levin, who got brought back to be center to back up Ben Jones. Yeah. Now,
he did
interior
okay.
dudes, he did okay. Yeah, interior dudes play guard, play center. Yeah, for people who don't know, if you're a backup offensive lineman in the NFL, you have to play two positions. I mean, you have to. They all play two positions. It's pretty amazing. I'm trying to find this exact.
It's amazing how durable usually they are.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'm interested to see what do we not know about Dylan Radins.
This is Jim. And I'm sorry, Dylan, if you're listening or like your mom is in town or whatever, I'm just fascinated by this.
Oh, there's no apologies here. We call it as we see it. That's what we do.
Yeah, I mean, we have to. It's a second-round pick on a team with a bunch of hurt offensive linemen.
Well, nobody's saying he should be starting, but we're saying there's been numerous times where there's been opportunity as a backup and someone gets injured and he's not even dressed or not even considered.
Kendall Lamb played one play on Sunday. I went back and found it. He had one snap. It was on the goal line play where Henry scored.
Oh. And
they had him out as like the sixth offensive lineman. They call it extra tight end, but
he's a veteran.
Extra tackle. It's Kendall Lamb. Mm-hmm. Big body, big push. He got to play one play. Radins didn't play any. This is from Jim Wyatt's Twitter, so it's the gospel. Titans O-line coach Keith Carter on Dylan Radins. He's the next man up. Corey Levin did a nice job when he came in because he got more practice reps. But Dylan is right there. He's close. He'll get an opportunity here shortly. See, to me, that's interesting. Corey Levin got more. He just got here. Got more. Corey Levin got more practice reps than Dylan Radins. So he's not even getting. I know backups get less reps than starters, but Dylan Radins got less practice reps than Dylan
Radins.
Dylan Radins got less practice snaps per his coach than Corey Levin. I'm combining Corey Levin and Dylan Radins.
That's why I'm looking at you like you're crazy. Why wasn't the follow-up question, why is that? Why did he just come off the street and get more reps than your second-round pick? Go. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
I think that's they thought he was better. And he knew the system. He's been on this team before.
Yep.
And they thought he's better. I mean, I don't know why they're going to say Dylan Radins. Oh, it's almost like I feel like we're with these young players, we're treating them like this is college. Mm-hmm. Sorry. Nope, it's not. You got to get thrown in the fire when it's your opportunity. And you got to let them ride out and got to live the storm. And coaches got to deal with it. Can't be fearful that they're going to make mistakes. Because guess what? They're going to make mistakes. Yeah, they are. And so you can do the practice reps all you want to. I'm telling you one thing right now. You have to get in that game and make your mistakes and see what you can and cannot get away with. I'm talking about with your talents, not holding or all those things. I'm talking about just within the game and the game plan and your skill set.
Yeah.
You have to. They found a way. Guess what? Well, my man Molden, guess what? They had him over like the tight end. He was like the dime guy. Yeah, they found a way to put him out there.
A role for him.
Guess what? You're finally going to just slowly ease him in there. He starts getting comfortable, figuring out what he can and can't do, and then eventually he'll be where you want him to be. But you can't let him sit on the bench. We're going to need all these guys, as we see.
Already need them.
Yeah, but that's what makes great teams, though, is your young or backup players will contribute, whether it's a game, plays in a game, or maybe 2 or 3 games. Backup wide receivers, they got to come ready to go. Mm-hmm. I know one thing we haven't talked about, Josh Reynolds, even a receiver. I mean, one target? Man, I tell you that Marcus Johnson, boy, he's for real. He looks like he's for real, too.
He's smooth.
Mm-hmm.
Runs good routes.
Yeah, so I don't know what's going on. But, old Tanny time, talked a good game. Yeah, he has good length, athleticism about Josh Reynolds. One target? Sorry, you don't like him. That's what that means. He's not getting open. Not that you don't like him, but
because Tannehill throws to everybody.
He throws to
everybody.
Yeah. So, yeah, as long as you hold on to the ball, I'm sure he eventually got open.
All right. Blake Toppmeyer set to join us next. Let's talk Tennessee. Let's talk SEC. We'll talk college football. He is the SEC specialist for the USA Network.
And then Gruden. Yeah, we're not going to avoid the Gruden.
No.
I saw your face. She's like, crap. Yeah, no, we got to at least have a,
There's a lot of pieces and parts to this Gruden thing. We'll get to that, too, for sure today. Don't think we have we've forgotten about it. We hadn't forgotten about it. And we haven't forgotten about Blake. He joins us next on Blaine and Mickey.
In a rematch from last season, the Titans host the Bills for 4 quarters under the lights on Monday Night Football. Bam! Continuous coverage all day. Monday with kickoff at 7:15 on your flagship for Titans Radio. 104.5 The Zone.
Tell you about Rent a Stay.
Rouge for Florida LSU. You know, back when I booked the flight, I thought it might be two a little more higher profile teams, but it's still a game with some interesting narratives, at least, as this might be the final stand for Ed Ogeron.
Oh, man, you better make sure you're not with Southwest, man. You may not make it down there. You better get your rental car ready.
Yeah, that's true. How's your driving skills?
Good point. I was just hearing about that.
Well, you mentioned Ed O. Certainly we're going to ask you about that. So let me ask you, this is a three-part question. How much longer do you think Ed O is the coach at LSU? And here's the second and third part. Who would be the next logical person for LSU? And the third part, what's next for dang Ed O if this doesn't work out?
Man.
Yeah.
Okay,
pieces.
part one.
Yes.
That's illegal.
I think LSU might wait until, say, November to make a move, but I don't know if they lose to Florida right on the heels of Kentucky and Auburn, maybe you just do it now. I mean, generally I'm kind of in the camp, and I think a lot of ADs are too, of the coach who can be fired in mid-October can just as easily be fired in November. And it's like, what's the rush? And you look at that LSU staff, there is no logical interim coach choice on that staff. It's not like you have an Ed O waiting in the wings to be an interim coach,
Right.
like you had in 2016. And the other problem you can run into with firing someone too early is, like, God forbid the interim coach performed too well, and then you feel like you got to promote him to the head job, which once again we saw happen at LSU there in 2016. But the way frustrations are mounting, I could see it go either way. I would not be surprised if after a loss to Florida on the heels of Kentucky and Auburn, they just pull off the Band-Aid. But like I said, with no logical interim coach waiting in the wings, maybe you push it down the road a couple weeks, unless you're worried about USC rushing in ahead of you and hiring the guy you want. In terms of candidates that I think, make sense for this, obviously Jimbo Fisher is going to come up in that LSU athletic director. Scott Woodward hired Jimbo Fisher to Texas A&M when Woodward was at A&M. But it would take like $10 million annually to even start that conversation with Jimbo. And even then, I don't know. I think that's a guy that's probably pretty happy at Texas A&M. James Franklin at Penn State, you always hear his name when big-time jobs come up. And it just makes you wonder how locked in is he there at Penn State? Would he consider a return to the SEC, obviously former Vanderbilt coach? I think he's a name that you'll hear come up with this. Lane Kiffin, it would be a wild ride with Lane in Baton Rouge, but we'll see. I mean, if Lane starts piling up the victories here, this season, his stock is going to continue to rise. And then I think, Luke Fickell's obviously the hottest group of five name. I think a lot of people have thoughts about him, as maybe having his sights set on Ohio State. But my response to that would be like, well, when is that Ohio State job going to open? He could sit around and wait for that for a lot of years. Now, maybe the desire to leave Cincinnati is less than ever with Cincinnati moving to Power 5, to having a real shot this year of being a college football playoff team. I don't know. And I'll throw one more group of five name out there.
Billy Napier.
Billy Napier. Yeah. Billy Napier's done a really good job at Louisiana Lafayette. Yep. They don't like being called Lafayette. They just like Louisiana.
Oh, I know. I'm a Sun Belt guy.
I'm putting my money on him.
Well, and I know this, Blake. I went to and worked at a Sun Belt school, Arkansas State. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but everybody knows that's the job that he wants.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I mean, we've seen Billy Napier time and again, and I actually visited about a day and a half with that program with Billy over the summer, and part of the conversation was about his patience, and he didn't get into specific jobs. That's like the worst kept secret in the SEC, that obviously Billy Napier was pursued by Auburn and certainly South Carolina in this last hiring cycle. And you even go back to the year before that, he was a name that was attached to SEC jobs, and he's shown incredible patience there at Louisiana. I mean, I think he likes the job he has. Does that mean he's going to retire there? Probably not. And I do think, yes, if you're looking at jobs that would make him consider leaving what he feels is a pretty good gig right now, I think LSU is one of the few that's probably on his short list that would be awful tempting. to leave. And, I mean, would he be the flashiest name? Not compared to some of those other guys I mentioned.
Yeah.
But he checks some of the boxes. He's a former Saban assistant, former Dabo assistant.
Yep.
But I think he's also proven that he can be his own man and run his own program. That's certainly different at the Group of 5 level. But he's done a really, really good job at a school that's not accustomed to having high-level football success in Louisiana Lafayette.
All right. What happens to Ed O?
That's a good question. I mean, I think he'll wind up on a staff somewhere. Someone as experienced as he is and as regarded as a recruiter as he is. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, people will tell you, Ed's a good recruiter, and that doesn't stop just because he gets fired, if he gets fired. So, I mean, I think someone will hire him to their staff. Maybe he jumps on for Nick Saban's wayward coach program there, rehabilitation program. But I don't think he needs that because I don't think if Ed O gets fired, I don't think he'll become the head coach again. So I don't think he really needs to go down to that analyst level. I think he probably winds up on a staff somewhere next year, coaching defensive line and being a recruiter. And I think that's just fine. I mean, I think Ed Orgeron adds value to a lot of coaching staffs across college football. I think the experiment with him as LSU's head coach, though, is pretty much run its course.
Our interview with Blake Toppmeyer, nowhere near running its course. He's talking college football, SEC, right here on Blaine and Mickey.
We're talking about surprises there, Blake, man. Kentucky beating LSU in Florida. I didn't see that in the works, but, man, they look like they're the real deal. But will they have a rude awakening versus who do they have? Georgia?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Georgia. Yeah.
Georgia.
Yeah. I think they probably do. I've held out in that skeptical camp when it comes to Kentucky about as long as I can afford. I think I'm starting to slowly pivot here to we need to start showing Kentucky some respect. But fact of the matter is, Georgia's just laying it on everybody week after week. I think they do what Kentucky does better. I mean, it's kind of that old school SEC football. Rely on your defense, rely on your running game. Kentucky's done that awfully well this year, but Georgia's doing that about as good as anybody can. I mean, it's hard to envision Kentucky scoring more than about 7 or 10 points in this game, and I think it's really hard to win SEC football games when you're only scoring 7 to 10 points. We saw that last week when Georgia, I guess it was a couple weeks ago, when Georgia had its matchup against Arkansas. Arkansas had an incredibly tough time scoring, and that good narrative sort of fell on its face. Now, I don't think this will derail Kentucky's season. I think there's still a lot for them to accomplish, but the idea of them upsetting Georgia, I don't know. I guess I'm still in the skeptical camp when it comes to that one. I'm not willing to go that far for Kentucky.
What were you more surprised about, Kentucky beating LSU in Florida or A&M finally taking down Bama?
A&M for sure. Yeah, that was something I did not see come. Maybe back in July I would have saw that coming, but I just did not think an A&M.
Yeah, Jimbo saw it coming in May. Yeah.
Yeah. An A&M team that had its offense just crater against Colorado, Arkansas, and Mississippi State. I mean, the idea that they would score 41 points against Alabama, after being so anemic offensively against those three programs I just mentioned. I mean, that was not even really a possibility in my mind. And I was at that game Saturday, and I tell you, just an incredible environment at Kyle Field. But as that game went, I thought, yeah, A&M can win this thing. It didn't feel really fluky the way they got out to that lead. They were just outplaying Alabama. But then you saw the comeback, and when Alabama went ahead 38-31, I definitely thought, we've seen this movie before. The favorite struggles throughout most of the game, but whenever the favorite, the top dog, reclaims the lead late in the game, the underdog always folds. It almost always happens. And so I was pretty stunned that A&M came and scored, 10 points there in the final 3 minutes to claim that victory. And that really sends college football on its head, right? Like, I mean, I was sitting here a week ago among the group saying that it's Georgia, Alabama, and then everybody else, and everybody else is kind of just playing for third place. Well, Doesn't feel that way, a week later. And Alabama, really, I think is now one loss away from very likely being left out of the college football playoff. I still think Alabama is one of the four most talented teams in the nation, but you can't get to the playoff on talent alone. You got to your record matters, and what you do on the field matters. And the fact is, Alabama might need to run the table now to make the playoff, and that probably requires them getting through Georgia in Atlanta. So they've really forfeited any margin for error that they had.
Well, with Blake Toppmeyer, SEC columnist for USA Today Network, and I guess we'll start this UT conversation. First of all, they're pumped up. The fans are pumped up. Sell out with the fan base, and Lane Kiffin coming back to town. How will he be received, and how do you see this game playing out?
Boy, yeah. If I wasn't in Baton Rouge on Saturday, I'd want to be at this one. I think it's going to be a vibrant atmosphere at Neyland Stadium. Lane Kiffin kind of needled the Vols just a little bit at his press conference yesterday, and like subtly in passing mentioned that it's going to be Neyland Stadium's first sellout in years. Kind of taking credit for his return being enough to get a sellout there, Neyland. I thought that was a good little whatever. Regardless of what you think of Lane, that was a good little needle there. But I mean, this game feels like a first to 50 points wins, and I know Josh Heupel, said on Monday he doesn't want to concede the fact that this is going to be a high-scoring affair. Like, don't let the defense preemptively off the hook. But just seeing what we've seen play out, I think it's going to be that way. I mean, I think Tennessee's defense has performed remarkably well as compared to expectations, especially the last couple of weeks. I mean, they really held a pretty decent Missouri offense in check. They came out and certainly did more than enough against South Carolina. But man, Ole Miss they're awfully good on offense. And I know we can look back at that Alabama game and say, well, it didn't look so good there. But that's been the one exception. And really, every other week, Ole Miss's offense has been fantastic. Matt Corral, I think, is as good as any quarterback in college football. And so I think Ole Miss is going to pile up points. But on the flip side, that Ole Miss defense the last couple weeks, last two games, Ole Miss has allowed more than 90 points combined. And we've seen what Tennessee's offense is doing now that they got the right quarterback in there. I mean, Hendon Hooker playing at a really high level. Tyon Evans is running the ball well. I think that offensive line is improving. I think they found something in their veteran receivers. And so, yeah, I mean, I think Tennessee can go toe-to-toe with them. And what's going to be probably almost a 4-hour game, a high-scoring game. And I think the atmosphere in Neyland is going to be interesting because, as you guys know, Lane Kiffin is one of the most polarizing figures in Tennessee. I mean, there's some Vols fans that still, almost 12 years later, will never forgive and cannot stand him for the way he left Tennessee in January 2010. I think there's certainly another sizable section of the fan base out there that has forgiven Lane, that remains intrigued by him, that even have a soft spot for him, and some of those fans even would have liked to have seen him back on a Tennessee sideline. So the reception, I know he's been back as an offensive coordinator. He was back twice at Alabama as a coordinator, but I do think it's a little bit different when you come back as a head coach of another SEC program. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of reception he receives on Saturday night.
Well, with Blake Toppmeyer, SEC columnist for USA Today Network.
Blake, it's interesting. You mentioned the start of the season that Hendon Hooker has had. I looked; he's actually the top-rated passer right now in the SEC. Heupel's done a whole lot right, but it certainly feels like they guessed wrong, picked wrong, did it wrong to start the season with Milton at quarterback instead of Hooker.
They did, and I think I'm probably a little more lenient on that than some. I know there's some out there that are really frustrated and think if he would have picked the right quarterback out of the gates, Tennessee might be 5-1 right now with a win over Pittsburgh. I guess I more look at it as there's been more than one coach that's been fooled by Joe Milton, and I do really think it's hard when you see if Joe Milton really was the guy that was performing the best in preseason camp, which I'll take him at their word. I suppose that he was. I think it's hard to not then start that person until you see on the field that maybe that's not the right choice. I mean, if a guy goes through the preseason and day after day looks like your best option, I think almost any coach in America probably goes with that guy. And I will say, to Heupel's credit, how long did we hear from Jeremy Pruitt? Well, Jarrett Garantano is the guy that's practicing the best, so he goes out there and starts. Well, at some point you just have to realize, like, well, he might be practicing fine, but he's not getting it done in the game, so you need to make a change. And now Joe Milton's injury against Pittsburgh, I think, certainly helped that along. But still, to Heupel's credit, he did make a change, and he got it wrong out of the gates, but I think he showed that he wasn't going to be stubborn on this. He showed that he wasn't going to dig his heels in and just insist that he had the right guy. And he's very quietly kind of pivoted. I mean, he never really officially said Joe Milton has been demoted. He's lost his starting job. I think he's handled this about as well as anybody can for someone who certainly made the wrong choice initially. But I guess, like I said, I'm probably a little more lenient than some on that because until you see it on the field with your program, I mean, I know you could look back at Milton's struggles at Michigan, but when you get here and if you think he's the guy performing best in camp, I think you go with him. And then when you find out on the field, when it actually counts that he's not the best choice, then you have to pivot, and Josh Heupel did so.
Blake Toppmeyer, our guest, SEC USA Network. Hey, Blake, on the way out, we got about 30 seconds left. Can Vandy keep up with South Carolina? This feels like a game Vandy can make interesting to me.
I agree. I think they can make it interesting. I don't think they'll win, but I don't think we should just assume that Vandy's going to get trounced by South Carolina. I mean, these are two pretty poor teams. Let's call it what it is. I mean, Vanderbilt's really poor, and South Carolina's not far behind. So, it seems like Vanderbilt keeps playing in these games with UConn and Colorado State.
Yeah.
But it might be compelling anyway.
Blake, good stuff, man. At B Toppmeyer. All right, I just say Toppmeyer. Some people call you Toppmeyer. What's the correct pronunciation?
It's Toppmeyer. Usually people add the extra E or the L in there. Usually those people who are not a fan of my work. The Toppmeyer crowd out there, they don't like my work. The Toppmeyer crowd, they much more appreciate my work. So if you guys, I'd prefer it if you stick to Toppmeyer, but if I write something you don't like, go ahead and stick an E and an L in there and just turn it into Toppmeyer.
100%. We're Toppmeyer guys all the way, man. We appreciate the time from Toppmeyer. Always, we think you are top shelf. Thank you, man.
Thanks, Top.
Awesome.
Yes.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Top level analysis from Blake Toppmeyer at B Toppmeyer, SEC columnist, USA Network. All right, when we come back, it's time to get into this Gruden thing. We'll do that. You want to sound off on it? Hey, phone lines are open. Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline, 615-737-1045.
Ryan Tannehill, Julio Jones, and Derrick Henry. They live here. I mean, like, not really like here in the building, but you know what we mean. On the Titan Station.
1045 The Zone.
only candy. I never see those except at Halloween. Have you ever noticed there's candy that only exists at Halloween? Lucas, you ever noticed that? You're young.
Like candy corn.
Oh, yeah. Candy
Well, but you can always buy that in a sack at Walgreens. I'm talking about like the stuff you go home, like the little sixlets, which are like the knockoff M&Ms. You only get those at Halloween.
Oh, yeah.
Or the
Or the McRibs.
I don't even know about that. I can't do the McRib. I mean, I'll eat every Big Mac you ever put in front of me, but I can't do the McRib. And McDonald's.
You can't do the McRib.
No.
I don't think I can bring myself to do it either.
Okay.
What?
They fooled me
Oh,
twice.
you guys are
When it
losing
first
out,
came
man.
out, I kept looking at it. They were running all these commercials, and it looked like a little slab of ribs. And I'm like,
Man,
I don't know about this, man. I got to go get one of those things. I got one of those things. I was instantly disappointed. And again, I like Big Macs, McDonald's French fries, undefeated. I like their Coke is the best Coke in the world. It's so good. But I can't get down with yes. I cannot get down with the McRib though. And like 20 years later, because it comes and goes, right?
No wonder you don't drink. You always drinking Coke.
Well, I drink like one every 2 days, but no coffee. That's the only caffeine I get. I drink like one soda every 2 days.
All right. Well, thanks, farmers.
Thank you, farmers. Yes, for growing.
Thank you for the McRib.
For whatever.
yeah.
Although I don't know if the McRib's ever seen a picture of a pig in its life. I mean, I
I
don't
would try
know,
it.
man.
I would try it. I'll try anything once.
So I tried it twice. 20 years later, it came out again.
20
I went to
years
college with this girl, and she posted about it. Joe Beth. She
Man,
was
you remember her name? She must have been a pretty important girlfriend.
she was all time greatest in 3 categories volleyball at Arkansas State, and like kills, spikes, and something else. That's how good she was. So fantastic volleyball player.
Yeah.
But she loves those things.
Oh,
she
yeah,
posted about it. I said,
yeah.
I'm gonna go get one.
Yeah.
Fool me twice.
What is your current wife love?
Not McRibs.
What does she love?
She is a very, and she listens a lot. She's a very plain eater. She is. She likes very plain.
You don't
Nothing
like plain
adventurous. No adventurous restaurants. That's not her thing. It's not super my thing either. But I will say this:
stuff?
when we
Nothing
go
wrong with that.
places,
I'm that way sometimes.
when we go places, I want to go to a place that is original to wherever we are. Like no chain restaurant. Like what's a hole in the wall place? What's the place where the locals go? I try really hard to do that when we go places.
Oh, really? Oh, so you're not going like to J. Alexander or
I like J. Alexander's here, but if I go somewhere, I'm not going to wheel up into J. Alexander's. It's like, let's find some place where the locals
you
eat.
go to Red Robin?
Hey, that's near my house. My
Right,
kids would
I
eat
know,
there
that's what
every
I'm
day.
trying to get them.
You're hitting all the spots my kids will eat at. Yes.
Outback,
I haven't been out
Cheddar's.
back in forever. Cheddar's I like. I never think about going there.
Okay.
It's one of the closest restaurants to where I live, and I don't ever think about going there. I should. It's good food.
Yeah, well,
Um,
thank the farmers, though.
Thank the farmers for growing all the food. By the way, if you're a farmer, not only are you a hard worker, you're a scientist, you're a crop forecaster, you're like an economist, an agronomist, you're at everything.
Oh, dang, I'm all of those.
Are you a farmer?
Well,
You got a garden?
I used to be.
I thought I was, and you weren't.
No, but that only one job that I had. Well, that was my first job.
Did this involve poop?
No.
You
No,
worked
that
at the
wasn't my first job. That was the job I did in college.
Okay. Look at the
Yeah,
poop
picking
plant.
up people. Oh, that was horrible. I was like a fireman mask and all that crap. But no, I was a corn crap. Right?
Thank you.
My first job was a corn detasseler, Ben from Indiana. Yeah.
What?
Oh yeah, you didn't know
Blaine,
that?
no, I would remember
4
that.
a.m. You wonder where I got my discipline from? Right there, first job.
Corn
First
detasseler.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
What instilled more discipline in you, corn detasseler or the poop plant?
Oh, man.
Which one did you enjoy less? Poop, just because of the smell?
Uh,
That corn, those corn shuck, that leaves will scratch the crap out of you.
I know that's
Corn or
Gives you
poop?
ribbons.
See, but the one thing about the poop
And it's
plant,
funny because corn and poop kind of have a
hosing
relationship.
out the poop plant is like that was a one-time deal, like once a day, and then I'm done for the rest of the day, even though I'm still on the clock. Corn detasseler never stopped. You were on their thing for 8 hours. She was like, "Oh my gosh, is it gonna get daylight yet? This is giving me signals that it's time to get off."
So poop. The answer is
Daylight.
poop over corn.
Yes.
Poop. There it is. All right. Speaking of jobs, speaking of jobs, John Gruden might be hosting
Speaking
out a
of
poop
poop, you
plant
know.
for detasseling corn because he needs a new job.
Man, I don't think he's hurting.
Bunch of old. As we were discussing before the show, so he wound up getting 40 of his 100 million roughly. Is what he's going to get.
Been 4 years of his 10 years.
4 of 10 emails. You know this if you're a sports fan. Bunch of old emails surfaced. He used racist and homophobic and sexist language and all kinds of language. And
Well, he also went after women referees.
he did.
The concussion issue with the players.
Goodell.
Goodell,
Yeah.
the sheriff. Yeah, I couldn't believe that one. And then naturally, which was leaked first, is the NFLPA president,
DeMar Smith.
Demario, Smith there. So, and as well as some of the journalists who cover the league and the coaches. So he didn't want to leave anybody out. So he made sure he hit all of them.
Everybody got shot over those years.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about this, and Blaine and I have talked about this a whole lot, and there are people who say fire him immediately, and there are others who say, hey, they're just words. It doesn't bother me. And wherever you fall on that, that's fine. There is an angle of this story, though, that some NFL writers are bringing up. Who people are saying, I think he should be fired. But this is very interesting because it was 650,000 emails, and only Gruden's emails get out. What are they trying to hide or direct attention from?
Yeah, that was really where I was going to go with
Yep.
it. Why did the Gruden emails get released when the Washington football team investigation is actually over and it ended in July?
Yep.
And he also went after owners,
Yes.
by the way. So I don't know, once it got leaked out to the Times, maybe they just trying to throw him on the bus for something else, or is this a distraction to something else that's going on over here? Because they could have simply, got away with this and said, well, he's going to counseling. He could have apologized numerous times, feel sympathetic, and, I made mistakes years ago. Some people don't know, like, well, that was years ago. I mean, but at that time, it was easy to get away with. Now it's kind of a different society, I think, and they're worried about maybe losing sponsors for the league and everything else. So I just wonder if anybody here in Tennessee, do you really care about what happened to Gruden, to be honest? I mean, do you really care? I mean, it didn't bother me one iota, good or bad. I'm just like, man, dang, I'm kind of shocked they went all in and basically forced the owner to say, hey, he got to go.
Mhm.
Like, wow, that was interesting. The owners are the owners, and they always win.
Undefeated, aren't they?
Undefeated. The billionaires always take down the millionaires down. So just know this. So probably, a lot of IT guys right now going and help out a lot of owners and executives right now.
Hey, man.
They
where's
tight with the
delete button?
IT guys now. See, you didn't know I was going to go there. They tight with the IT guy right now, man. But, man, you can't be sending out emails like that. I mean, he did over, long span of time, I guess. That's what they're saying. And so I'm believing what they're saying because he's accredited, credible news reporters. And when you're talking about Adam Schefter and Tom Pellicello and everybody else that's out there. So this is, it's just horrible that someone's out there, doing this. You can say, oh, well, you can make a mistake. But, man, he kept going. And I just think he's an egotistical guy, and thinks his stuff don't stink. And I can do whatever heck I want. So kind of where it's at with me.
Yeah, Shalise Young is a columnist for Yahoo Sports, not Yahoo Sports.
Yeah, he.
And she essentially wrote, like, a lot of the same thing. This a guy who's a privileged guy. He's had all the success in the world. She kind of said he's like the star quarterback who just does whatever he wants, whenever he wants, says whatever he wants. And
yeah, on Monday night, this is when it comes out, when he used to actually work for ESPN. When all this stuff happened, by the way.
On Monday
So what were
night,
the people he sent the emails to? Where did they go? Where did they go?
I guess none of them ever responded. They never responded.
Nobody
There's
ever
only sent
responded.
emails, no
What'd you say? It was
responses.
650?
650,000
emails.
Emails.
And not just him, but just that they all looked at over this.
in his Redskins
Time.
investigation. And the only guy that did anything bad was John Gruden.
Yeah. I wonder where Snyder. Oh, remember the cheerleaders, too? He got them, too.
Yeah,
He didn't
sure
leave
did.
anybody out.
We can keep this discussion going on the other side. I know we got Marshall in Nashville who wants to weigh on the Mark Spain real estate hotline. You want to talk about this? Hey, man, we got a whole nother hour of the show, 615-737-1045. Coach Mack is going to join us in the 2 o'clock hour. It's Blaine and Mickey, 1045 The Zone.
Do I have everybody's attention now?
Coming up tomorrow morning.
It will be Scout Meeting Wednesday-ish with the Titans set to host the Bills on Monday Night Football.
Man, I'm telling y'all, this Bills offense is lit. The Titans will have their hands full with Josh Allen.
And at 7:30, we're going to have Seth Wickersham, who wrote It's Better to Be Feared about the Patriots dynasty. You will not want to miss this.
Rhett Bryan of Titans Radio will join us, and Wednesday means midweek motivation with VFL Inky Johnson.
It's the show show having a much better week than John Gruden or Urban Meyer. We're J Mart and Ramon.
Tomorrow morning from 6 to 10 a.m. on 104.5 The Zone.
fans going to represent?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they will.
Let's get
They
this.
always do. They think you're going to kick them to the curb, man.
Kick the Bills fans to the curb.
Oh, yeah. We won't be at pregame, by the way. Yeah, so I can't kick them to the curb. But, yeah, I kick them after the game. Well, I'll throw them off, so they can, break some tables again.
They're going to bring tables, and they're going to have a good time. Those folks have a fantastic time for sure. But let them have a good time outside the stadium. Good time on Broadway, right? Not inside the stadium. Keep it tight and friendly in there. Well, there's some humdinger Monday Night Football games in the past here that I've seen. I mean, just craziness over there. It needs to be like
what was
that.
When we played them last year, what was that, on a Thursday night? Wednesday
was
night?
Tuesday night.
I was going to say, let's go to our show,
day.
Remember Lucas, because Lucas stores all of the memories that we have. It was an odd night, right? You said Tuesday.
Yeah, because the Bills were complaining.
All the COVID stuff with the Titans.
Yeah, the COVID.
Yeah. If you're a Bills fan, you don't hate anything more than the Tennessee Titans because you lost to them because of COVID, because you didn't get to play when you wanted to play. So it was Tuesday night. So that's why that happened.
They had to show up.
They did have to show up. And then that Music City Miracle thing, which if you think that was a forward pass in any way, you're lying to yourself. It wasn't. People always look at where Frank started and where he wound up, and Dyson stayed in the same place and caught the ball. Well, by the time Frank threw the ball, somebody was hitting him.
Where the ball was released. I had to learn that too on the day because I said, ooh, that's going to be close.
In real time, it doesn't look close.
No.
But all you have to do is watch it in slow motion.
But everybody's watching the body.
Oh, yeah. Here's the biggest miracle about the whole miracle. They didn't blow it dead. They let the play go. Because if you look at it in real time, it's like Frank just threw the ball 5 yards forward because that's what it looks like in real time. Nope. And for anybody who says it was a lateral, it was backwards by just a tick. I know.
No, that's not what Adam Schefter said.
Hey, screw that guy. And you know me, I like everybody. Screw that guy. I don't even follow him on Twitter.
I could just
He still says that's a forward pass.
Yeah.
That wasn't a forward pass, you goofball.
Yeah.
Anybody with two working eyeballs, and if you're like, I know there's one guy from Buffalo who lives in Nashville. I met him one time when I was out.
He played with him?
No, but he's just from there. And he's like, I listen to y'all, but anytime y'all talk about that, you know you're full of crap. I'm like, we're not full of crap. I used to do some freelance work for Fox 17. I've seen every video angle. I've seen every camera angle of that play. It is a backwards. It's not even sideways. It is slightly backwards. It is. It's slightly backwards.
Well, ultimately, their special team coach got fired.
Sure
and the
did.
players, you got to play outside in and do your responsibilities. You can't be just running the ball. I think they just were convinced that the game was going to be over. And we had that play drawn up way before that game.
And all of you've told the story. Like everybody practiced it at one point or another. Were part of the play just in case.
Mm-hmm.
And Dyson was like the third guy that day even.
It's funny, even the year before I got to the Oilers organization, Frank Wright was even part of a big comeback against the Titans. So that was kind of payback for the Titans going, from back in 92. I think it was 92 playoffs.
Yeah,
it might
biggest
have been in
comeback
93 as far as the playoffs, but yeah.
Biggest comeback in NFL history.
They had them beat by like 30-something. I remember I was in college. I was watching that game, and I turned it, I think, to another game. I think it was the Cowboys versus somebody. I can remember in my apartment. But, yeah, so that was kind of a payback there. Yeah. It was funny. I was just watching a video of me against the Bills in that game, the Music City Miracle game, and I was going to tweet this out. I got to find it again. I jumped up in the air. It's when you jump up in the air, and it's one of the ones when you go, uh-oh, I don't want to jump, and I'm already up. And then I got clipped by my foot up in the air, and I come tumbling down by Thurman Thomas. And I come tumbling down. I felt, man, you know what? I should tweet this out to them and say, this is like what it feels like when you're jumping onto a table and you're Bills Mafia. I got halfway. I was like, oh, no, I'm not going to. I was literally going to jump over Thurman Thomas. I was going to jump over.
Okay.
I disguised and came on a blitz, and I'm coming on the outside. And as I'm going up, I go, uh-oh, I'm not going to make it. I was going to jump over him. I mean, he didn't dive. He was standing straight up.
Oh.
I was going to jump over a standing guy. He was there because he could block. I was like, I'm not going to go right into him. I'm not going to be able to make a play. Either I'm going to jump up and try to knock the ball down, or I'm going to jump over him.
Okay, but where his head would be and where your abductus longus region is.
No, he caught my foot.
Oh,
He caught
so
my
you were
foot.
that high?
Oh, come on now.
Foot?
Yeah, he
Over
caught-
a standing human being.
And I stopped myself, and I wish I wouldn't. I wish I would have just kept rising. I didn't. I'm still mad at myself for that.
You stopped yourself from levitating over Thurman Thomas.
I was like, oh man, either you got to be all in. I'm gonna go over. Don't try to in midair think you're gonna change your mind. You have no control. I'm not a ballerina or a basketball player.
Did you land on your head?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep, I went ear first. Boom. I was like, oh man, that didn't feel good. And that field was a rock.
Yeah.
It was tough. That was about as hard as hitting Antoine Smith that day too. I was a little jacked up that day. Oh well, the playoff run. Yeah.
Antoine Smith was a good player that nobody remembers for the Bills. He was a good player. Backed up a Hall of Famer, and he was a really good player, too.
Oh, I was hot as fish grease that game to get him.
He got you.
No, he got me the time before, the
Oh.
game before.
Oh, so you looked through your notebook like people to get.
Yep,
Antoine
he was on the
Smith.
got. He go get got.
Did you get him?
Oh, I got him. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was on that list. Yeah, well, in fact, you get got. I mean, that happens.
Sure.
He almost Corey Dillon me. It was almost one of them ones where he's kind of rolling me. Like after he runs me over, it's like, hey, you're in my way. I was like, oh. And just think going to watch that film the next day with your teammates, and you get one-on-one splattered by the guy with the ball. You going to tackle him. He sees you.
Yes.
You see him, and he just like runs right through you like you're not there.
Was he 23 also?
Yes, he was.
Okay.
Yeah. So everybody paid that day. I got Peerless Price. I hate to say that, UT guys. Yeah, I got him on the sideline. I tried to.
Had he gotten you or you just got him?
No, everybody was gonna get got that day.
Oh, okay. Everybody.
Yeah, it didn't matter.
Just the whole roster. You just put a big X
Yeah,
over
once
it.
I get got by one person, you all have to pay because I may not have a chance to get him.
So I'm going to have to get – I'm taking it out on your teammate.
Yeah, whatever motivation I needed to get mad, that was it.
Let's Deborah
They
is
all
on the
great,
line.
all great players too, by the way.
Really great.
Yeah, great
Deborah's on the line. She wants to talk about Bills fans. Hey, Deborah.
Hey,
Hey, how you doing?
can you hear me?
Oh, we
Yes,
can.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, I just want to tell you guys, y'all were talking about us, fans, being at the game. Of course, unfortunately, me and my friends that were faithful fans, and we've been going for 20 years or more as four girls. But anyway, the last game we played the Bills, we were coming out of the stadium on top of them being so rude when we were at the game. They were just so disrespectful to us. But there was a couple walking beside us, and a gentleman, my friend, smoked. One of them did, but we don't. And she had just lit a cigarette, and the man come up and literally took the cigarette out of her mouth and started smoking it. And that's what kind of people they are.
Ooh,
Wow. Okay.
oh,
Trash Talk Tuesday.
yeah.
Deborah just got off the top rope.
That's what you got to do off the top rope.
See, I would be thankful that guy tried to stop Deborah's friend from getting lung cancer. He decided to take that mantle
I think
on
that
for
was
her.
her option, but not his option to take it out of her mouth and put it in his mouth.
No, don't
He
do
wouldn't
that.
be doing that,
No,
man.
that's-
What are you
that's-
doing, man?
Come on, man.
He must have had one too many, I would assume.
There's a real fair chance of that. All right, we got to take a break. Coach Mack is coming up. We don't like to wait for the Mack attack. That is next. Coach Dave McGinnis on Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone.
But off the top rope.
The Titans play Monday, so we have you covered Sunday with an NFL triple header. First, it's the Packers and Bears, followed by the Ravens and Broncos, and then the Steelers and Seahawks on Sunday Night Football on Nashville's home for the most NFL, 104.5 The Zone.
it is. I mean, you just keep giving it to him, and finally defenses start to wear down. I mean, you could see that in the second half. And, I mean, it's not anything new that we haven't seen since Derrick Henry has been on this incredible now 2.5 season tear that he's been on. Because the first half, people are going to load the box. I mean, when you're listening to the broadcast, that's all you hear me say. There's 8 people up. I mean, it's a solid front. They're dropping safeties down. You know, they're squeezing the interior. I mean, they're doing everything they can. I mean, you know, Derrick Henry and this offensive line, this blocking unit has worked against 8-man fronts more than any team in the league on a consistent basis. So you just keep giving it to him, and that's what has to happen. You have to be patient enough, and you have to bow your neck enough as a play caller and as an offense to know that everything's not going to be successful from the start when everybody's gunned up. But this guy gets stronger as the game goes on, and it's not true for the people that are playing against him.
Yeah, and every week, Coach, we get that stat dump from the Titans about, like, he's the first guy in history to do this, and he's the third guy to do this. In the first sense, it's always like O.J. and, you know, Eric Dickerson and Barry Sanders and Walter Payton. We're even bored of just him setting records in a league that's 101 years old or 102 now, and he's still doing things that have never been done in history.
Yeah, don't get bored by it because, I mean, it's special. As I said, I first came into this league, you know, on a team with Walter Payton, and you never get bored with it, and then you got to appreciate it when you have it. And the thing that's important about it to know is that he's doing it in an era right now as to when a lot of people don't commit to the run, and you're not able to see this type of carries by a back. But and it all goes back, guys, and it's not anything that you guys don't know and our listeners don't know either, because they're very sophisticated and dialed into what, you know, Derrick Henry is all about. This guy is superbly conditioned. I mean, we've all seen, you know, all the workout videos during the off season, and it's not just for show, it's for real. And so, yeah, don't get bored with it because it's special.
Coach Dave McGinnis joining us right here on Blaine and Mickey, brought to you by Farm Bureau Health Plans. Need great health care coverage at an affordable price. Let Farm Bureau Health Plans coach you through it. They got you covered.
Well, Coach, we know you love breaking down film and looking at the film. Kind of take us through what the Jags were doing to able to run the football so well with Robinson, being that he's an exceptional back, by the way, too.
Well, he's a good back, Blaine. I mean, you've played defense for a long time. It was more what the Titans were not doing. First of all, you know, they had some gap violations, tremendous gap violations. You know, to begin with. I mean, that's just what it is. And then tackling. The Titans did not tackle well in this game. I think Mike Vrabel, you know, said that after film review they had 15 missed tackles. That doesn't work in the National Football League. Any athletes you play against as an opponent in the National Football League, offensively, they are going to have playmakers, and they're going to have people that are going to be able to really hurt you, first of all, if you're not in the right place, and second of all, if you don't tackle well. And, you know, with 15 missed tackles, you know, consistently when I'm doing the broadcast, the things that I say, you know, a lot of it talks about if teams are going to raise up and just throw the ball, you know, short, you know, on your defense, what do you have to do? I mean, what do you have? You have to spot tackle. You have to spot tackle, and when you start missing tackles and it becomes infectious on a group, it can be devastating. But you can't. And Mike Vrabel said this, and I agree with him wholeheartedly. You can't survive playing run defense like that in the National Football League, and so they've got to get that straight. Now, run defense is something that's very easy to fix and to counteract as far as just structurally, because you can see who's in their gap, who's out of the gap, who's not shedding the block, who's staying stuck too long, you know, who's voiding a gap, who's trying to run behind a block, or who's out of position. Those things structurally you can fix. Then you have to fix them fundamentally and foundationally and physically on the field, and it has to start during practice. It really starts during that film session after the ball game. You know immediately what the problems are, and you can fix it. But you have to fix it before the next game starts because people have the same film.
Yes, it's one of the things that would frustrate me so much as a coach, and that is not doing your responsibilities. And I'm not talking about execution. I'm talking about just doing your job. So, you know, missing tackles are things that happen, but not being in the right gap is fundamentally just on you as a defender. And so that would used to eat at me, and I can imagine how the coaches feel about that. But there's a question I want to ask you is, how do you know as a coach, offensively and defensively, when your team is getting close to putting it all together? Are there any tell signs at practice. Like, I don't feel like the Titans offense have been in rhythm. I don't feel like the defense have put it all together as well. So I'm just wondering, over time, how do coaches, especially the head coaches, know that they are in a groove and that, now that everybody understands where they're supposed to be?
Well, let's talk specifically about this team. The first thing is this group hasn't been together yet because of injuries and the massive amount of injuries and where they've hit and when they have hit certain position groups. You have not had your full complement of players that you wanted to have from the start of the season. You have not had them together yet. I just turned the Buffalo film off when I came on with you, and I was just watching this. Well, their offensive line played 100% of the time in there. And you've got to have some continuity, especially when you get to this time of the year, when I start looking at teams throughout the league, when I'm studying them, who is still playing with their original starters. So the first thing is, Blaine, to be able to get that continuity, you have to have everybody there. And unfortunately, because of the injury issues that the Titans have suffered this year, with an unprecedented 21 players at one time last week on the injury report, you haven't had everybody there. It's hard to get continuity when your players aren't there.
What were your thoughts of Trevor, and does he remind you of a former quarterback in this league before that you faced or even coached against?
No, I've never seen a 6'6" guy that's got that much quick twitch and that much athleticism. Normally your taller guys, you played against them in your career. Your taller guys sometimes are a little bit immobile, just because of the way it works. But you have a guy this big. This guy's a superb athlete. He throws a very catchable ball. The thing that I like about him, and just watching him progress throughout, he is very, very. It's hard to fluster him. You can look, he's a very composed dude back there because, this guy's been a highly successful quarterback and an athlete, since he started playing. Look at his winning percentage in high school, look at it at Clemson, and now he's experiencing some things he's never experienced before. But they've got a generational quarterback there. If they can get everything else fixed around him, and plus just get the atmosphere fixed around him. I mean, he's operating right now in a pretty dysfunctional atmosphere right now, if you want to just be honest about it. This guy's a generational talent. He's going to be a problem for years to come, twice a year in the AFC South for us.
Well, with Coach Mack giving us the Mack attack.
Coach, we always do game balls on the show on Tuesday in the segment after you, and I was going to give I'll let the cat out of the bag. I was going to give my special teams one to Joe Jones, who was a linebacker. That dude hadn't played in a game. He was a special teams demon on that kick coverage on Sunday. It's fun to see a guy just show up and take care of his responsibilities and shine when he gets his opportunity.
Yeah, first of all, I like your nomination, and he deserves the game ball. And for this reason, too, guys. This being able to cover kicks, both kickoffs and punts, were a huge part of this game plan going into this week because number 39 back there is a dude. Yeah. He's a real dude now, and they did a tremendous job. Craig Arkerman and his special teams group, and they worked on it all week. I watched them. I mean, it was very, very important to be able to get down there and eliminate him because in a ball game, Mike Keith said it very well on the broadcast after the game was over, that the Jaguars kept nipping at the Titans' heels throughout that game, and all you needed was one explosive play, out of the return game, and you would have had some problems. So I love the fact that is your game ball because it was important, and that the entire coverage team was extremely important. And for a guy, look, here's what happens when you get your chance, do your job, and you may have that job for a while. I love your nomination there, Mickey.
I appreciate that, Coach. So the third play of the game, the rookie, Molden, gets to play, puts his helmet right on the football, knocks it out. Byard picks it up and runs it in. The Titans get a touchdown. For all of us who only saw the play on TV or saw the replay, it seemed like such a bang-bang play. I was really surprised they didn't overturn it. I didn't know if you guys got a better explanation or had a better angle. I think if they'd called it not a catch, it would have been hard to overturn, and maybe that's the way they looked at it. But I was really surprised that play stood.
Yeah, I didn't need an explanation. Here's what it was. They were 2-by-2, 11 personnel, split out 2-by-2, and he wanted to originally on the snap. They were playing zone defense, and what he wanted to do, he wanted to throw the out to the left side. It was covered very, very well. The underneath coverage buzzed out underneath it, so he came back to his check down, to his tight end. And what really generated the start of that play was, I always talk about directional delivery keys in zone defense. Molden did a great job of directional delivery key and triggering. When the directional key came that way, he triggered before it was thrown. Here was the mitigating factor in that, and I've talked to officials that I know already on it. But I said immediately in the booth, I said that's going to stand because he caught it. He had 5 points of contact on the ball. The ball was never moving. He had 5 points of contact, had tucked it in, and he dipped his shoulder to turn upfield. And the other thing that was good about it was Molden triggered, and then he got his head across the bow, as you talk about in coaching, and then he put his face right on the ball. The other part of it that was big, too, is anytime that ball's on the ground, ask Blaine, what you're taught defensively, pick it up and go with it and let the officials sort it out. The other thing that was good about it, the other defensive players, they immediately went to sudden change and turned and blocked. Huge play in the ball game, correct call by the officials. There was no doubt in my mind it was going to stand.
Well, I want to add to that because I wanted you to kind of explain to me what is actual a football move. And I heard you guys explaining it, I think, to somebody else, but I wanted to kind of hear that from you because I didn't think he made a football move. Even if you turn and kind of get in a position, is that considered a football move?
It absolutely is, and the key to that was, and the way it's been explained to me, Blaine, he had. I talk about 5 points of contact. He had total possession. A lot of the football move stuff is when they're still not in possession of the ball, or it's still not a solid. It was a solid catch, and when he turned and lowered his shoulder, that was the football move.
On the Coach Matt getting the Mac attack here on Blaine and Mickey.
Yeah, Coach, great clarity there for me. Now let's move on to, I guess, the Buffalo Bills and the Bills Mafia. Man, what have they done since week one, losing to the Steelers? Now the Steelers have gone the other direction, and the Bills now have taken flight. What has been the change from then to now?
Yeah, first of all, Blaine, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I've been drilling and grinding on these guys. This is the best team we played since the team we played in the opener. They're better than the Cardinals because they're a more mature team than the Cardinals. First of all, they've got great health going on this team. You look through the roster and see what's going on. They've got guys that have been playing from the start. They're still playing right now. I start charting snap counts for guys that have played. And here's the other thing: when you break down this game and you look at it, the offense, okay, in their last ball game, they only played 57 snaps. The defense played 86 snaps. So they were highly productive on offense when they were in there because they were wearing out, the Chiefs defense. And the other thing about this defense that the Bills are playing right now, Les Frazier, again, very, very close with Les Frazier.
Yeah, me too. Coach me in Philly.
Yeah.
I know, yeah. I've known him since 1986. He was going to be my secondary coach when I was head coach of the Bears for 6 hours and didn't know it for 3. And so, I've known Les, very well. You've been with him. You understand what a really good football coach he is, and also he's even a better person. And great human being. And what Les did this game, he didn't blitz one time. He covered. He rushed with 4, and he covered. He played cover 4, a little bit of sprinkling in, a little cover 2, a little Tampa 2, some middle of the field man, but still 3-man rush with a low hole rat and a single high safety. But he kept playing rope-a-dope with that Chiefs offense. They played a lot of snaps. They didn't give up a lot. They didn't give up any explosives. That was huge on that. And so when you look at them, you look at a football team that really understands what their nature is and the way that they're going to win ball games. And plus, this quarterback is playing as well as any quarterback going. And right now, his running ability, we all knew about it coming into the league. Everybody questioned his accuracy. Well, now he's got an accuracy down now. So, and Mike Vrabel said it very well. It's like having a wildcat offense, but the guy that's playing the Wildcat can throw for 350 yards. Normally when you have the Wildcat, the guy can't throw it 10 yards in front of him. This is completely different. And so they're a healthy football team. They're on a roll, and they've got an identity, and they play to that identity on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, I want to add to that and get your comments. I saw him running like a Lamar type running plays at quarterback, and maybe they stole it from the Ravens last week versus the Chiefs, as well as their front 4, let's call them the front 8 in the rotation. Man, they get after the quarterback, so they don't feel like they have to blitz a lot.
No, they don't, and they've got a rotation of guys in there. I mean, when I do it, I've got the snaps of all of these guys down here, and I mean, I don't want to belabor that point, but Oliver played 63%. Hughes played about 60% in my calculation. Lutalele played about 60%. Rousseau, their rookie, played 42%. The Obadi, the defensive end, 40%. Everybody I'm talking to you about now, Zimmer, their defensive tackle, 35%. Epinesa, the kid from Iowa, played about 35%. Basham, their defensive end, about 30%. Addison, their defensive end, about 30%. I've named all those guys, and look at the number of percentage of the plays they've played. Yeah. They roll them in there. And so if you're going to rush with 4, I've been a defensive coach on teams that were a 4-man rush primarily, but you have to be able to roll people in here, roll in there to be able to do that, because if you don't, they get gassed. But they've got enough guys, as evidenced just by those percentages I have given you, that they can roll guys in there. That's why they can do that.
Wrong with Coach Mack, giving us the Mack attack.
Man, Coach, so much good stuff. We got a question from Shane in the Zone TV chat, and there's a little more to it, but he's basically saying, can Coach Mack explain what he saw with Rashaan Evans on the game on Sunday? There were a couple plays people put up on social media where one goal line play where he kind of dove through the line, and I heard Coach Vrabel actually say on his show last night he was expecting a quarterback sneak, and that's what he was trying to play. There was that 58-yard play. It looked like he looped inside, and the running back got outside. What did you see with Rashaan Evans on Sunday?
Because I wasn't sure. I didn't know if he was supposed to shoot the gap because he started creeping up. So you never know. The video can deceive a lot of people. You don't know what the play was called.
Let's go to goal line first. I mean, I coached linebackers for 100 years in this league. He was playing the sneak, which really, if Jacksonville was doing what you should have done, they should have run the sneak. Yeah. All right, you got a 6'6" quarterback that's a blade of grass away from the goal line. Don't try to hand it to a back to go to the perimeter. Guess what? Doesn't work. All right. So anyway, he did completely right. That's what I would have my middle linebacker do on that goal line situation. Try to go and hit the guy in the face when he tries to jump over and stick the ball out. You know how they always do, right, Blaine?
Yep,
try to go hit him in the face. That's what he was doing there. The long run, he was out of position. And here's what I always told my linebackers. And again, if you're going to run underneath a block, if you're going to run underneath a block rather than crossing the face on a run play, if you're going to run underneath a block, it's just like a defensive back, Blaine. If you're going to reach with the offhand, not the ball hand, if you're going to reach with the offhand, you better be sure you can hit the ball. If you're going to run underneath, you better be sure you can make the play.
Yeah, absolutely, Coach. Great stuff as always. Ought to be a fun one on Monday night. Did you like Monday night games when you were in the league?
Absolutely loved them. Absolutely loved them. When I was first with the Bears, we played 3 every year because it was the Bears.
Right.
But I absolutely love them because look, you're in this business for 2 reasons. Number 1, you're in this business because you absolutely love the competition. And number 2, you like everybody seeing what you're doing. So did I like Monday night games? Absolutely loved them.
Well, we're going to have a fun one here in Nashville against the Bills. Coach Mack, great stuff today. Thank you, as always, for the time.
Guys, I always enjoy being on with you guys on Tuesday afternoon. See you.
Yes,
appreciate it, Coach.
Oh, that was fun. Man, that was good. Shane, appreciate the question in Zone TV chat. Remember, when we got Mack on, you can always call. You can ask a question on the chat. Coach Mack loves not only our questions, he loves yours too, and we love for you to ask them. When we come back, game balls. You want to give away a game ball or 2 or 3 for the Titans' effort against the Jaguars? Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline open, 615-737-1045, at Blaine and Mickey on Twitter or in the Zone TV chat.
Coming up today on the 3HL.
It's a thoughtful Tuesday on 3HL.
How about it's a Titans Tuesday on 3HL? Okay, good, because Jim Wyatt's going to join us to talk Titans.
Thoughtful? What am I talking about?
I don't know, but you should have been talking about numbers, and that's why we bring a guy in like Alan Bell, who's on it.
Guess where else we are? Buffalo Wild Wings in Smyrna.
And what about the
see
wash-away
us.
toast? The wash-away toast.
Come see us.
4:45. Jeremy McNichols, Titans running back at 5 o'clock. Be there, Smyrna. We coming.
Today, starting at 3 p.m. on 104.5 The Zone.
Yes, you have been championing.
Even when they
that
cut
guy.
him, I'm like, man, why did they cut him?
Right.
Remember I said that? I'm like, man, I don't know. I think they messed up on that one. Somehow he
dude-
found his way back on the roster. He didn't play as much as offense then, but
Kudos to him, though. Like,
yeah,
okay,
he
man,
stuck with it.
I'm
He
gonna keep
did.
my apartment in town because y'all gonna call me back, and they did. And now he has a role on the team. He's the leading catcher,
Talking about
pass catcher on the team.
Persistent guy. Yeah. And then he looks good. Oh man, I was really concerned when he got rolled up on too. He got hit like right there on that ankle.
Yeah.
And kind of got up limbed up, but he came back in the game. So he may be resting a little bit or, to make sure he's ready to go on Monday.
Yeah, we will
Give him
get
an extra day.
get injury reports tomorrow. We'll keep you updated on all that. All right, on Tuesday, we give game balls, and Lucas said a bunch of people called and said, I would like a ball. No, we give like ceremonial game balls to Titans players. If we had them
What
to give to
happened,
you,
Lucas? What happened?
you know that we would. If we had them to give to you, we
I
would give
could
them to
see
you.
how that was mistaken as a giveaway, giving
Okay.
away game balls on the other side. I'm surprised it took up until today for that to happen. I've never
Yes.
fielded those calls before.
Been doing it for a few weeks. Our director of content, Blaine Bishop, said, you know what would be fun? Give game balls. Pick our players of the game. We'll do that.
We all do get the good content, man.
Kathy in Portland, though, would like to go first, and we
Give us
want
a game ball?
Kathy
Yeah, 'cause
in
she
Portland to
did.
go
Yeah.
first. Kathy, thank you for calling the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline and Blaine and Mickey.
Yeah, Kathy, you guys give us your special team game ball first, though.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks. I listen to y'all all the time, and I love the show.
Thank
And
you.
when you said you were giving game balls, I knew I had to try to get that for my grandson. But
Sorry about that.
Sorry,
but
Kathy.
the game ball, as my grandson says, he gets pushed down too much. Ryan Tannehill. I mean, this has been going on for the past 3 years. The offensive line, we've got to do something better because that guy never complains. He just goes in there and does his job. I don't know how he does as well as he does. And it's a shame that he is the most sacked quarterback in the NFL, and that's not a statistic we want. So please give the game ball to Ryan Tannehill.
I like it, Kathy. Yes, a real one. I like that.
Ooh, Ryan Tannehill.
She's tired. She likes Tannehill. She's tired of seeing him get hit.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people
That's
are.
a good one. Mm-hmm. What'd you say? What'd you got? You
Uh,
gonna go with, no, Lucas is not. He's busy.
Lucas is
right now.
out of position.
You want me to go? I'll give you
You
my
just gave
offensive
up
guy.
gap integrity, Lucas. You were completely out of position on that play. there.
I did, like Rashawn Evans on Sunday.
Oh, that guy-
He unfortunately does not get the game ball.
No.
Defensively, got to give it to Kevin Byard. I think his best game of the season. Forced a couple turnovers. His first career NFL touchdown, which I guess when you look back at it, I guess
Was
it
it?
is. That's
That
what he
is
said
hard
after
to
the game.
believe.
Yeah, with all the interceptions, you would have thought he would have ran one back. But his
Oh,
first
man,
career
that was the only
touchdown.
notch I had on him.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Laid a big hit on Trevor Lawrence at the goal line. He was all over the place. So
Sure
for
did.
me, it's Kevin Byard. Special teams, I know we missed an extra point, but just on how bad the kickers were all day on Sunday, I'm just going to give it to Randy Bullock for not being worse because it was
Considering what's
all-time
out there
bad.
and what's going on in the league.
25 combined missed extra points and field goals. It's the most in NFL history. 13 missed extra points. And it didn't stop us. It happened on Monday, too. Rodrigo Blankenship looked like he was in timeout with that shot on the bench.
I'm worried about that guy. I'm just going to say it. He looked like they said he had some kind of hip ailment.
Yeah.
He looked like something was going on with that.
He was on over there on the ground meditating, man. It looked like to me, man.
He looked like a little kid in timeout.
I hope he's
man.
okay.
But yeah, I'm a big fan of Blankenship. I loved him with the goggles there at Georgia.
Oh, me too.
That was awesome when he used to run on the field.
Hey, man, you got to have your brand. His brand, goggles.
Well, until you start missing, then it's like, all right,
Well, then
buddy,
your brand is
better
not
get
good.
LASIK
Well,
now.
what was going on, too, in that game
these
when they
bigger
had
goggles.
the other guy kicking, and then he came on when they got the penalty to kick? Was he already in the locker room or something? In the Ravens-Colts game. You saw that?
You're saying when they
Right
brought
before
in
half.
when they brought in the Sanchez?
Yeah, the other kicker kicked
Yeah.
first, and he missed, and then it was a penalty.
Right.
Then they put
brought in-
Blankenship in.
I don't know. I
to
think
kick.
the broadcast team was talking about it like they didn't trust Blankenship's range from there.
He was nursing some kind of hip ailment, they said in the
Oh,
broadcast.
maybe that's
Right.
right. He
Yeah.
came in and kicked it
was-
right down the
It
gut.
was funny
Sure
because
did.
Naheem Hines was the holder on that kick. Have you ever seen a
Right,
running
that's what I
back?
said. It looked like they ran into the locker room or something, like they were missing her. I don't
That's
know.
Kevin Dyson stuff. Like we're doing the pregame show, and Kevin's like, well, I was the holder. What? It's like one day we're talking about Rick McGinnis. He's like, yeah, I played for him. We're like, when? He's like, well, I played basketball too, my freshman.
At Utah,
What?
yeah.
What are we doing
But
here?
have you ever
Rick
seen?
McGinnis asked me to come out for the team at Ball State, though. I said no.
Oh,
can't
both
do
of
it.
you had Rick McGinnis in common.
Yeah,
I
that's
forget
right.
about that.
Have either of you ever seen a running back as a holder in the NFL? I've never seen that. Naheem Hines was holding for
Somebody who
Roberto
has
Sanchez.
really good hands, and he does return punts and kicks, so he has great hands.
James all his fingers. It can't hurt the Titans again.
Yeah.
Who you got? Was that everybody, Lucas? Did you get
I
through
guess
your...
Marcus Johnson offensively. Just,
Marcus Johnson.
Man, you
I
took
knew
mine.
first
That's who
gonna
I
take
was
somebody.
going with. I was going with Marcus Johnson. I was going with Harold Landry. It pains me. I just want to be different than Lucas, for the Bayard. And I do know how to pronounce his name there, Tiki Barber.
Baird.
So Landry with 2 sacks, and he's played phenomenal. I'm trying not to give it to the same guy, but he stood out. Then just the whole special team group putting holding Agnew in check. That was huge.
Dude's got a rocket up his rear end. Yeah.
He's a special returner. So, yeah.
All right.
Marcus Johnson, though, is my guy. Dang, Lucas.